All right, aloha everyone. Welcome, thanks for joining us. I've been looking on YouTube to see if I could find any videos on this. I couldn't, so I thought I'd make one. This video is gonna cover replacing the rubber drip molding that goes in these tracks on the Tacoma. This is a 2021 Tacoma. It came with a factory roof rack, and I wanted to put my Yakima racks on it with the round bars, and so I decided to sell the factory racks, and I found somebody that wanted them, and part of the price was to trade the rubber roof molding from his truck, and now I'm going to replace them onto my truck. So a couple of things to kind of keep in mind when the factory installs them. They have to poke little holes in the tape. That there's factory holes in there that are threaded for the roof racks, but they're covered up normally. So they do have to puncture those, and it's really important that you totally fill those all the way. I used a 100% clear silicone, and I'll get a close-up of that in just a second, but I made sure that the holes were totally filled up, and I gave it a couple of days to dry before I'm going to install these. So I'll show you what that looks like, but it's just extremely important that you don't let any water get down in there, because I've heard stories of water getting down into the truck and creating all sorts of problems. So make sure those holes are fully sealed up before you put these moldings back on. The next thing after this is given a couple days in warm weather to dry, is to make sure these channels are nice and cleaned out. Clean them with mild soapy water solution first, and then I'm even gonna take and just kind of wipe inside down with rubbing alcohol, and a little cloth napkin. So let me show you what the holes look like. So here are the holes that I've completely filled up with silicone and even overfilled them a little bit. I just want to make sure that no water gets down in there. And then in these channels there's a clip, a metal clip. It looks like it's welded into the end of the channel on the back, and then there's one up on the front too. And we'll take a look at the rubber channels to show you where those clip in. Just for reference sake, on these longer pieces of the rubber drip molding, you'll notice the front of them. There's one of them that tails off to the right. There's one that tails off to the left, and you'll match it up with the channel on your roof there. So this one is going to the right-hand side. This one is on the driver's side of the truck. I did find a couple of letters of interest on these two pieces. I can't really tell if there is a difference between these two, but one of them has a ZL, one of them has a ZR. I'm going to assume that the L stands for left side, R stands for right side, and I'm going to give that a go. Before you start gluing everything down, you will probably want to do a dry fit, just to make sure you have everything in the right place. The way these work, as far as I can tell, is there is a little piece that sticks out on each side there, and if you can see on the metal clip, there's a little piece for that to push into. This just looks like something that just pushes down in there, and that seats it. And I am going to use a combination of a few products to make sure this doesn't lift up. When I was doing some research, some of the online forums were saying that these were coming off in car washes and heavy winds, so I really want to make sure this doesn't come off. So I'm going to use this two-sided T-Rex tape in certain areas, and in the other areas I'm going to use this 3M weather strip adhesive, just kind of a thin line of that. I really don't want these guys coming up. I want them to stay put and not lift up under any circumstances. So I've got this prepped and ready to go down. I've got about 10 inches of that double stick tape or double-sided tape here right in the front part. I'm going to put the gasket or the weather stripping sealant right here. I've got another piece of double stick tape there. I'll put a little bit more of the gasket adhesive here, and then I got one more of the double stick tape there. I don't think this thing's gonna come up. I'm ready to put this down. I'll really want to make sure it's in the right spot before I lower it down, because this stuff is really sticky. And once I get it into place, I don't want to have to pull it off. So I'm going to start at the front. Make sure that's right where it needs to be. Push that down. And kind of work my way to the back. Making sure it's centered as I go. And you can feel it kind of snap into place as it gets to the bottom of that channel. Okay, so I want to make sure I have the right one. Should have an R on there. Okay, and one thing to keep in mind here is the bottom of this tucks into this weather stripping around the window before you push it down. And then of course, if you're using the double-sided tape, that's got to come off first. And depending on how you want to put it in, I almost think that I'd like to start from this side so I can tuck that down first, get that into position. Make sure this is in the right spot. Then I can pull that tape. Well, I'm going to start here first. There, it clipped in. Now, peel this up, put that in there. And the directions on this T-Rex tape say to hold it in place for 30 seconds, which I will. As I wait for this to set up for the rest of the day, I'm not going to move the vehicle for the rest of today as it's drying and setting up, but I did put some painter's tape on here just to kind of hold everything in place. Everything feels really solid, but I do want to make sure that it's not going to move around for a little while it sits in a position and dries. So at that point, you kind of know how the process goes for the other side. Repeat all the steps on the other side, and you're good to go. So mahalo for watching. Aloha to you. If this video was helpful for you, please click the like button down below. That would help me out. And then also, if you have any questions or anything, just leave it in the feedback and I'll make sure to get back to you. All right, see you next time.